Greetings everyone and welcome to the Winter Climate Recap for December through February 2017 and 18. I'm your Climate Program Manager, Bob Nestor. Let's get started. First, let's talk about what happened in February. After a quiet and warm January, winter returned across western Montana. This particular graph is for Missoula, Montana. It shows you the cumulative seasonal snowfall. So, as mentioned, La Nina occurs over the entire season, not just by storm or by month, but it's the entire season. So we can have some ups and downs. This graph shows pretty good that we kind of got off to a slow start in winter through mid-December. Then we had a spike in snow accumulations from mid-December through early January. And I'm looking at the red line here. Then we had somewhat of a lull in January, not much in the way of snowfall. In fact, it was warmer than normal across western Montana in the month of January. And in early to mid-February, we had another spike of accumulating snow and colder than normal temperatures. So, February climate stats, western Montana, well below normal for temperatures and well above normal for snowfall or precipitation. The average temperature departure for February 2018 was quite cold. Kalispell was the winner, temperature departure of 8 degrees below normal. Their average temperature this month was 19.1. Precipitation departure from normal in February again was wet. Missoula over 200% of normal, and Kalispell and Butte right around 160% of normal. How does this translate to snow? Quite a bit. Missoula had 14.1 inches this month. And as mentioned, Kalispell had its third snowiest February since 1899 with 25.6 inches. That translates to a departure of 324% of normal in Kalispell, and Missoula was over 200% of normal. So, how did La Nina pan out for the meteorological winter of December through February? As mentioned at the beginning of the season, a typical La Nina each year in western Montana produces above normal snowpack, or as we call it, snow water equivalent, above normal valley snowfall. It also produces temperatures mostly below normal. However, this isn't not always the case, as La Ninas are not always the same regarding temperatures in the valleys of western Montana. And that's largely due to the number of Arctic events that actually occur, move across the divide, their intensity, and the frequency. So as mentioned, snowpack is probably the best correlation for La Nina events. They're always above normal. This is a map of snow water equivalent. Note how along the divide we had most of our snowfall, or even greater amounts, anywhere from 130 to 160% of normal, and that includes the Bitterroots. Far northwest Montana, not quite as much, right around 120% of normal. In central Idaho, the Clearwater is 125% of normal, and not quite as much snow as you get further south, only about 100% of normal down in the Salmon Basin. For the season, December through February, average temperature departure was generally at or below normal. The month of February was well below normal, and that drove our seasonal average departure to below normal for Missoula and Butte. And Kalispell was 1.8 degrees below normal, mainly because they received a few extra Arctic events that were colder up there than they were further south. I went ahead and compared last winter, which was a weak La Nina, to this winter. And it kind of denotes how many more Arctics, or the more intense Arctics, we had across the region. Here in Butte on the top left, last year we had 36 days of sub-zero temperatures. This year only 20. Same can be said for Kalispell. Fewer sub-zero days compared to last year, and same with Missoula. Only 2 this year in Missoula. So for weak La Ninas in Missoula, Montana, December through February, this graph shows that temperature departures almost always are below normal. Sometimes, like this year, 95, 96, and 67, 68, they're somewhat near normal, and we've only had 1 year in which they were above normal in 2011 and 12. Precipitation departure from normal December through February was above normal. Again, weak La Ninas. This is for Missoula, Montana, and you could say most of western Montana as well. Precipitation is, for the most part, above normal, and we've only had a few years that were below normal for precipitation. Total snowfall for the season. This was Kalispell's 7th snowiest year through February 28th, dating back to 1899, with 68.9 inches. Missoula is above normal as well, with 40 inches of snow, which is 160% of normal. This is typical for La Nina seasons. Weak La Ninas, once again in Missoula, Montana, as mentioned, snowfalls generally above normal. The 2 years that we have had snowfall below normal, they were only about 94% from normal. So once again, weak La Ninas, good correlation to above normal snowfall in the valleys. So with all that said, in this cold and snowy February we've had, people are going to wonder when is winter going to end. So we can give you a little 2-week outlook through mid-March. This is from the Climate Prediction Center, and they're still calling for pretty good confidence for temperatures to be below normal through the 14th of March. And precipitation, they don't have as great a confidence. So somewhat of a confidence for at or slightly above normal precipitation. The type of weather pattern we have, we're going to be under this situation, is kind of a general trough across much of the West. And this time of year, this leaves the northern Rockies in a pattern of more or less showers. Not as great an organized system, but numerous rain and or snow showers throughout. So in summary, it was a typical weak La Nina winter with above normal snowpack and above normal valley snow. One of the snowiest winters in Kalispell, top 10, and at or below normal temperatures except in parts of far northwest Montana. Please, if you have questions, give us a call, 46329-4840, or follow us on Twitter or Facebook at NWS Missoula. This broadcast will be put on YouTube later this evening. You all have a good evening.